Yo, what's the shakery in the bakery? I'm Kosher the Kingslayer, full-time jester and part-time videographer. Allegedly. For the last couple of years, I've been going through classic World of Warcraft and completing all of my childhood dreams one by one. Now that we're here at Million Pandaria, my favorite expansion, my goal is the final achievement that younger me was never able to accomplish. I intend on completing the Legendary Questline and becoming the Legend of Pandaria. But, with less than a year to becoming Legend, I quickly learned that this would be the most arduous adventure I'd ever been on. It won't be easy. And over a decade ago, I failed pursuing the same quest, right at the finish line. But I'd never forgive myself if I didn't at least try. And that's what second chances are for, right? And a second chance at the Legend of Pandaria title is something I could never let up. A title that requires you to go through an unforgiving questline that takes you through every part of WoW, from doing all of the raids countless times to PvPing and grinding rep in dungeons. It's a quest for the most committed and most devoted. Though legends, much like mistakes, are made. First goal in place, I needed to get to the max level of 90, and hopefully along the way tell you a bit why Million Pandaria is my favorite expansion. Alright, enough talk. Let us enter the chronological adventures I went on towards level 90. Starting with July 21st, 2025. The launch of Pandaria. Greetings, heretics. I am currently on my way to the most chill, blood-soaked smoke spot as we speak to begin this long, tedious journey in becoming the Legend of Pandaria. Now, you may be wondering, what does that shit even mean? What am I chasing? What is this legendary questline, and why would I even want to do it? And the answer is quite simple. A cape with wings. You see, after hitting the max level and gearing up a bit, the clock starts ticking, as I can then begin an infamous questline that stretches itself out over an entire year across 33 gruesome quests, split up into 5 time-gated chapters, in which a mysterious prince promises me a most delightful reward if I aid him in his quest for redemption. This reward being a powerful legendary cape that gives me wings. Holy shit. And the aforementioned title of Legend of Pandaria. But I only have a year to do it, and once that year is up, I will never get another chance, ever again. And that would be incentive enough, but seeing that each chapter in and of itself is time-gated, that meant that I had to fucking hurry, as not completing one chapter in time sets you back and makes it essentially impossible to catch up. This was a year where I had to play classic WoW like my life depended on it. A year where I couldn't fall back or stumble even once. A year spent in pursuit of something legendary. Yes, you heard me right. A year-long uphill battle with no second chances. Once it's gone for good. All for a fucking cape. I feel like I'm getting deja vu. Hold on, where am I? What's going on? This isn't WoW Classic, this is a bathtub. You guys like the new red attire? I figured since it's Mop Classic, I needed some drip. Thank you. But really, I'm a jester through and through, so I figured I may as well look the part. I'm more breathtaking than a drowning Ventolin inhaler. Anyways, back on track. For those who are uninitiated, the climb from level 85 to 90 is a bastard's gambit. I need 97,500,000 XP to reach the max level.
Oh my god, bro.
Before I can even start playing the game and begin this massive quest line. Yes, you heard me right. 100 million XP before I even have the fucking privilege of starting. With that being said, I won't get too into the legendary questline this episode, but know that every step that I take is strategic and planned out. Ever since I staged a coup to usurp leadership from my guild, but we'll get to that. I've got some leveling to do, so let's get to one of the best zones in WoW's history, favored especially so by yours truly, because of this obscure rock that my heart has been drawn to for over a decade. I am, of course, talking about the Jade Forest. What isn't there to say about the Jade Forest, dude? A land that is striking, fuckable, a perfect introduction to the beautiful, vast continent of Pandaria. Untouched and unbroken by the cataclysm, though not technically unaffected, as this tranquil land was shrouded in titular mists of Pandaria for thousands of years, until they were weakened by the late Deathwing somehow, and dispersed by a swaggy naval conflict between the Horde and Alliance in the South Seas. So wait, you're telling me that I get to quest through a lush green forest with several villages that have regional-sized threats at most, where nobody gives a shit who I am, as I am a measly random mercenary from the Horde hunted by the Alliance prowling this contested territory, and the land itself is untouched by the cataclysm? TM? Boy, does that sound familiar. Anywho, I adore this place, and it remains my favorite zone in World of Warcraft. My love for it was rekindled upon landing in the forest, when I found many of the introductory alliance-killing quests to be both buggin' and bugged. This did not deter me from grinding XP off of the alliance anyways. Another debate won with fire and daggers, and it seemed it didn't stop countless others from doing the exact same thing, though many chose instead to use players as a source of fleeting dopamine, in place of the opposite faction's NPCs, and it all soon turned into a war zone. What else was gonna happen on the launch day? Went from Jade Forest to filled with blade tourists. Wait, this isn't England? Due to everybody being grounded and jam-packed into the same place with no flying mounts, there came numerous reports of ganking, though for some reason I was left alone, as if I was given immunity by virtue of existing, and as much as I would love for that to be the case, the real reason was due to my new guild. You see, the cyber cartel I had all my adventures with, Synergy, was officially disbanded by its original creators after I had staged a coup to usurp power. Everyone switched servers, switched guilds, and one or two allegedly went to Europe to PvP in real life. Cringe Russian chuds getting low diff by my ex-guildmaster is the best rumor that has ever circulated my server. Well, anyways, during the pre-patch, after Synergy disbanded, I decided to join a new guild that granted me neutrality in world PvP conflicts. So when MoP came around, I could level in my favorite zones in peace and not pieces. A guild known as Strawberry Milky. Now I know what you're thinking. What the fuck is that name? And also, how the hell does this guild exclude me from PvP? Especially given my history of being on damn near every kill on sight list on the server and then some. And also, what the fuck is that name? I know, it might seem odd, but you have to understand that the guildmaster of Strawberry Milky is so clinically insane that not even the apocryphal nightmares of Lovecraft himself compare to the daily thoughts of this champion of madness. This guildmaster is so feared that nobody wants to cross them, even in passing. Their name is only said by stuttering bards in the corners of burning taverns. It's known that they created their own language and speak in sinister tongues that would terrify even Abaddon of the Abyss, and they have never known defeat. I am, of course, talking about Boople, a member of the server who speaks in their own dialect. A dialect that countless have attempted to understand and failed. Ever since 2019's original classic launch, Boople has been devoted to their strange language. So much so that they have never once slipped up and spoken regularly. Unless, of course, they're pissed. But nobody who's heard Boople speak regularly has lived to tell the tale. Boople is a staple of the server's identity, and it's difficult to find somebody who has genuine grievances with them, or in turn, wants to find any. So I decided if I was going to be a part of any guild while I leveled, I was more than comfortable being part of Boople's to avoid any conflict that would otherwise slow me down. The leisure climb to level 90 by killing river bugs and looting their low drop chance organs for random villagers went smoothly as it could go. Until, at random, I was assigned the guild role of Boople's Nip Milk.
Kosher, what is your guild role? Boople Nip Milk?
Dude, I don't fucking know. When I checked the guild's Discord server, I found it to be the equivalent of reading a blind schizophrenic's journal upside down, especially given the fact that Boople has a cat named Nyarlathotep. If you know, you know. It dawned on me that I had traded a cyber cartel for a cyber psychward. What the fuck is this? Quips and bloods. Did Boople make a song? What? Oh, that's simply terrifying. Boople and I had many conversations that went somewhere I didn't know existed, and I'm sure that this was the result of one of them. Speaking of going places I didn't know existed, in Jade Forest, one of my favorite parts of Mists of Pandaria rears its tantalizing head in full throttle. Do you like stealing from the unfortunate? Robbing the homeless? Collecting trophies the hard way? Well, I sure do, and that's why I rob wishing wells of all the coins that people throw in there. What? The Jade Forest offers a very similar rush. Scattered throughout the land, there are treasures of Pandaria. When found and looted, these idols and artifacts give powerful gear, expensive items, and loads of experience. This incentivizes exploration and pushes people to search every nook, cave, corner, and cranny. And I must admit, if I'm gonna find a staff that I'll be using for the next 2 levels, I'm really hoping that it wasn't found in a fucking cranny, whatever the hell that is. And then on top of that, there's also rare spawns, which are much the same. And while leveling, they require you to invite players and talk to people to form a group to take down these formidable foes for a chance at sick loot and experience, all to the cacophony of non-stop ganking. The launch day was beautiful, magical, effervescent, just like how I remembered it way back when. I did damn near every quest in the Jade Forest to inch closer to level 86. It was at this time that people began to complain on forums and in LFG chat, isn't that strange? About how long it was taking to level, how boring and sluggish it was. Sob story after pity party. And for those who felt that way, retail is down the hall and to the left. I collected many plants and murdered X amount of Y countless times in the woods for merchants and brewmasters alike. I went from one village to the next, explored everything I saw, and formed groups with other players to quest with. Here, I'm just a mercenary, just a dude. I'm not even the Kingslayer. I'm just Kosher. I love questing, defeating rare spawns, and roleplay duels to the death with blacksmithing hammers and fishing rods. We'll get to that, don't worry. And it really shocked me just how much it felt like classic again. If there was ever a doubt in the back of my mind that Mists of Pandaria wasn't quote-unquote classic, it was vanquished while leveling. Anyways, along the way through the ravishingly lovely forest, I eventually arrived at the Tian Monastery, a small settlement nestled between tall mountains, autumnal trees, lavish ponds full of lotuses and koi, and cyclopean bridges that went from one tower to the next, built upon these sprawling highlands. And it was here, strolling into town for the first time again, that I caught sight of it. The mountain. A mountain with no name, only 2 trees that never rustle in the breeze and grass that never grows. A lonely landmass that, 12 years ago, became my in-game home. The place that I would hang out with my old friend Bailey every night after school. The place we'd sit and queue for dungeons or battlegrounds. The place we'd meet up with after raids or duel each other for fun. The place that we'd always log out at every night. The mountain I'd been curiously including in every video of mine for the last 6 years, you know, that one? A rock so obscure and out of the way that it's hard to understand why this was the one that we chose all those years ago. But its obscurity only cements it more so as being ours. And only ours. Seeing it again for the first time in so long, I felt a wrenching nostalgia, a heavy heart. Most of all, I felt a neglected determination, because countless years ago, atop that mountain, I watched my final sunset in World of Warcraft. Over a decade ago, way up there, I logged out for the last time. I was so close to finishing the Legendary Questline, but despite it all, right at the finish line, I quit. I logged out like any other time and never logged back in. I stared up at the ghost on the peak. I wonder if he's still up there, who I used to be. If he is, I promise to do what you couldn't. I promise to run towards what you ran away from. And I promise to come back to the mountain once I've done it all, so you can see me and know that we did it. I will become the Legend of Pandaria. Yeah, so that's why it's my favorite zone. Then I hit level 86! Now that I'm level 86, I'll have to bid the Jade Forest farewell and return to it and that lonely mountain, once I become what I was never able to before. Thus onwards I went, to places that would prove to be outside of God's jurisdiction, where my PvP immunity would protect me no more. Cicadas, summer, and scenic sun shower soak soil. Welcome to the Valley of the Four Winds. Fields with small towns and breweries made up this striking symphony of sunshine and cicada song. You even get to tend your very own farm to grow produce and relax. I love the eternal summer of these prosperous yellow fields and the beautiful blue sky above. And Pandaria's breadbasket, much like the real world's, has quite the zone on the border. Hell, since both the Valley of the Four Winds and the Krasarang Wilds are level 86 zones, I decided to travel between the two to level up, or rather I was forced to due to my PvP neutrality metaphorically shooting itself in the figurative face with a non-literal gun that had bullets. In other words, once I reached the scenic Stardew Valley where I was supposed to feel at peace, I instantly became a victim of mass ganking alongside literally everybody else. The zone closest to feeling like 4 Xanax on the last day of school soon felt like 80 Benadryl on the last day of death row as I walked to the fucking guillotine. But why? Let me break it down for you, son. A large group from the Alliance, you know, the faction famous for being upstanding citizens with moral compasses and all that, had made a guild, and while I won't say its name, I'll give you a little hint. The guild's name was the first letter of my name in rapid succession. Yeah. And this guild had shut down the Valley of the Four Winds and put it under complete dominance, with racial slurs abound and vulgar names attached. So I decided, for better or for worse, to leave the Valley of the Four Winds and come back once the cringy racist alliance had been dealt with. Maybe during the daytime, since alliance players only PvP at fucking 2 AM when nobody's on. I returned to Orgrimmar with intent on grabbing a few elixirs from local alchemists and potion sellers alike, but was instead met with yet another smiley face made out of level 1 corpses. This is something that we've seen repeatedly throughout the years, a bit that alliance PvP guilds do as a type of graffiti when they shut down a zone or something. Though, as I wandered the odd cemetery from ear to ear, I took notice that a number of other players had run back to Orgrimmar. How could they not? With the mid-level zones cut off entirely by alliance guilds with racist names. And one of these players was a druid. With some of the locals, we began to urge them to raise the fallen orcs from their unrighteous deaths. This obviously didn't work because, you know, they're fucking level 1 alts that exist to die. But that didn't stop us from pushing this druid until they couldn't be pushed anymore. Is there no savior among us? Who can res the fallen? All hail false, the false prophet.
Res them. Yes, false the Messiah. He is God.
How can one object to the miracles taking place here?
He is risen.
Praise be.
Our Savior false, raising the dead before your eyes.
Give us your wisdom, my Lord, my God, and speak, and I will kill or be killed in your name.
The one who seeks should not cease seeking until he finds. Verse 2. And when he finds, he will be dismayed. Their silence is humility, for they are the Lord our God, risen and sent forth to raise the dead from their slumber and forgive us of all of our transgressions.
Curse ye who would not come to kneel before their holy presence.
My new friend Baitnah, the benevolent warrior, and I had started to roleplay religion for about a half hour before the druid, False, went AFK. Psst, Baitnah.
Yeah, what is up?
We've been praising this guy for like 20 minutes, but not one orc has been rezzed. I don't think it's working. Here's 30 silver. You know what to do.
I see what you're saying. Hey, you're making us look fucking stupid.
They are not the Lord, our Savior.
Can you, do something?
It was at this point that Tacticity randomly opened trade with me and generously donated 15,000 gold to the cause. As civil unrest began to brew and Baitnah started to rip down the profit that the two of us had spent a half hour creating,
Fuck you.
I decided to jump ship before chaos could get too out of hand. Let me fly on your back, please. Take me out of their sight. I hopped on the back of Tacticity, and he flew me off into the sunset, leaving Baitnah the Benevolent to deal with the horde of fanatics that we had made. But I'd be back. Oh, I'd be back. After my intermission in Orgrimmar, my massive payday, like what the fuck was that about? I returned to the Valley of the Four Winds and the Crassaring Wilds. Horde players had risen to the occasion, banded together, and like every other time, forced the Alliance out of the areas. This allowed us to farm freely, grind happily, and vape meth medicinally. The freedom to go between the humid farmlands and the wild tropical coast vaguely reminded me of when I was given the choice to either go to Silverpine or the Barrens when I was a lower level. Plus, the slow methodical leveling was a soothing refresher after the savior of the world zoomer pace bullshit that was Cataclysm. Even in small doses, the non-linear leveling of MoP alongside the low-stakes Eastern Kingdoms type quests allow you to forge your own story and not follow some strict shit campaign that takes you from one place to the next on a roller coaster that never goes up. MoP is so fucking good with a capital X. I fucking love this game, dude! So anyways, alongside scarecrows and scenic sunsets, I meticulously massacred many monotone monsters for many moons, and slowly but surely inched my way closer to level 87, helping chefs, farmers, and brewmasters handle the effects of a devastating harvest and horrible drought. While doing these small tasks, I learned a number of things about this staggering land, like how the vegetables here are massive, not because they're an American SSI joke, but because they are nurtured by the waters that come from the Golden Heartland to the north. I also learned that a lot of players at level 86 had taken to something called monkey runs to level up quicker. This was essentially a way of boosting in which a tank and some AoE classes banded together to spam kill the non-elite monkeys at the beginning of Storm Stout Brewery over and over again to get insane amounts of XP per hour. The chat was always full of people looking for monkey runs, and I am all for it. This is class in it. Valley of the Four Winds and Krasarang Wilds are beautiful zones full of chill quests in a chill place. Even the Americans couldn't shut it down. Excluding a school, what can they shut down? So yeah, then I hit level 87. Please say grats in the comments or you're not invited to my classic WoW themed birthday party. Alright. I fucking love this game! From the high highs of the snowy peaks to the low lows of the river valleys, the Kunlai summit is a breathtakingly huge area, full of spoils of war past fought, grudges unearthed into conflict, and of course, most notably, the Sha.
Hey, what's the Sha?
Huh? Oh, they're these really badass metal as hell things that
Really? They're cool?
and they're essential to know about for the future episodes of the series too.
Yeah? Really? They're...
Yeah.
Okay, prove it.
Alright. Thousands of years ago, the Titans found the parasitic eldritch old gods inside of Azeroth. For the planet's health and well-being, the Titans knew that they had to get rid of these horrific gods. So they tried killing them. They went after the seven-headed Yasharj first, and soon found that it is, in fact, impossible to actually kill an old god. Yasharj's already strange alien body was then splattered across southern Azeroth by the Titans, and his blood seeped into the soil of what would become Pandaria. When negative emotions begin to taint the hearts of the denizens that roam the deicide-soaked soils, the remains of Yasharj appear as monstrous amalgamations taking the physical form of these emotions, known as the Sha. The guts of a dead god in Pandaran soil has painted its history in a violent and very depressing light, and the soft rhythm of his mutilated heart deep beneath Pandaria's surface has pushed the current people who live here to practice peace, confidence, bravery, meditation, self-defense, and benzodiazepines to keep the dead god at bay, in hopes that by maintaining a balance in their own emotions, they can keep the Sha from appearing. And that worked really fucking well. Let's go forward like 10,000 years.
Oh no!
The Horde and Alliance arrived with genocide and conquest on the mind, as per usual, and the horrors that the Pandarans spent thousands of years burying crawled out of the depths of the tomb that they had been confined to. But as violence and doubt swept the land, the most prominent emotion felt throughout Pandaria was fear. Hey, I wonder if that's going to be incredibly important in a few episodes. Once you start to feel these negative emotions like pride, hate, doubt, or fear, the Sha begin to possess you, take a hold of your very mind, your feelings, your thoughts. They show you what you fear most, what you hate most, your doubts, your pride. All it takes is one violent act or egotistical thought to become the puppet of the Sha. I mean, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Anyways, I arrived in the war-torn plains of Kunlai at the autumnal riverside Baitnah village, and carried along doing my silly little wacky quests. I rounded yaks and beat the shit out of countless ox people. That was until a familiar face from before reached out to me in LFG chat and challenged me to mock Gura, a duel to the death, for leaving him with the religious fanatics that we had created. Do you have a fishing rod?
I do.
Meet me outside Orgrimmar. Let's settle this.
You have no honor.
I actually have like 3,800, but okay.
You abandoned me,
So I did.
and now you will die a second time.
Ah! Ow! What the fuck? Damn! Ow! That shit hurts! Damn you! Check this shit out! Get 'em, boys! Wait, what the fuck are you doing? No! Oh, fuck.
Coward!
They were supposed to use the rock. Guys, what the fuck? That duel was not fair.
No, I will never forgive you.
Do you, by chance, have a rod?
I have a hammer.
You're gonna need it. Avenge the old fool. Ah, what the fuck? Ow, holy shit. Is this what it feels like? I'm so sorry. Oh my fucking god. Take this.
I'll kill you for what you've
My
done.
old comrade. You stand and watch as I am demolished.
This is for you, Baitnah.
The same way that I watched as you stared over the lot of dead and left you, Baitnah. I am sorry.
Stop, Valden. You know now how I have suffered. So now, let us end it with peace.
Baitnah and I watched the sunset from the wrong way, talked about the soul, about life, and basked in our newfounded friendship. I learned a great deal from Baitnah, to control my reactions, that pride should be monitored, that giving salvia to my little cousin so we could play pretend on hard mode was probably not a morally good decision, and that sometimes a duel to the death isn't the answer. But then things got a little deeper. There's this one thing that I'm pretty scared about.
And what is that?
Well, it's kind of hard to explain, but being undead, I guess it's par for the course. I don't know. I made a promise to younger me that I don't know I can keep. I told him I was gonna become the Legend of Pandaria.
Making promises to your youngest self, is it? I think we all do that. I have, that's for sure.
You have? Yeah?
Sure. When I was a lad, I wanted to join a grand guild and be one of the only folk in the world to have beaten Naxxramas, but I didn't do it. And it stuck with me, you know. Then came the re-release. Classic WoW. Oh, how I made it my goal, all over again. I did Stratholme till I was exalted with the Ardent Dawn, and had the Death Charger. I got all the best in slot gear from AQ, and I even became a Scarab Lord, claimed other titles, conquered other achievements. That when Naxxramas finally came around for the second time, and my goal was right there before me, I was so burnt out that I quit.
Why?
Because we all got limits. Sometimes conquering 99 giants means you'll die by the 100th.
Yeah. And sometimes it means you're 99 times more likely to kill the 100th.
Oh.
How about that?
To be young again.
Oh, come on. Doesn't it bother you?
Bother me? Of course it bothers me. It's not the 100th that kills me. It's all the little deaths that come after. The regret. If I never tried, I'd never have given up. What am I gonna do about it now? I've defeated 99 giants. So what if there's one left? I'll live with it. What if you've already used up all your second chances?
So that's your advice? Quit before I even start so I don't fail? So I don't regret it? Look at me, Baitnah. Even if the 100th giant smacks me down, I'll get back up again and again until it's dead and 100 more lay after it. I have no limits.
Whatever you say, Kingslayer.
Yeah,
Whatever you say.
it is whatever I say.
Well, I hate to bid you farewell, but the Lamplighter and Dalaran is calling for me. Until next time, Kingslayer.
See ya, man.
I hope you don't end up like me.
Catch you later. What if he's right? What if I'm just setting myself up for failure? I've already slain the Lich King, conquered the Firelands. Maybe those were my 99 giants. Do I really need one more? With newfounded doubt in my heart, I ganked some random dude the moment I got back to Kunlai. #pwned. Yeah, what a segue! The gathering of carrots and slaughtering of X amount of Y became more and more mind-numbingly repetitive, just the way that I like it. Imagine me dapping you up and missing, dude. Your boner's on fleek. However, during the wonderful repetition of classic WoW questing, I was eventually introduced to the Shadow Pan. You see, there's a great wall that cuts through most of Pandaria called the Serpent's Spine, which exists to separate the western territories inhabited by the Mantid and what was once the Pandaran Empire to the east. It's protected and maintained by an organization who dedicate their entire life to guarding the wall and protecting the Veil of Eternal Blossoms from any possible invasion, to defend until their last breath. An ancient brotherhood that's existed for 10,000 years since the Emperor Xiaohao appointed them to guard the wall and defend it against the Sha if they ever were to rise again. I'm sure the all-stars among you have picked out the staggeringly subtle inspirations already, but I'll say them out loud. It's the meh wall of Canada, and also the wall all from A Song of Ice and Fire, also known as Game of Thrones. The Shadowpan are the Night's Watch, literally, and when spoken to, they respond with quotes from the oath that the Night's Watch must swear upon joining the Brotherhood in the novels and the TV show.
We are the sword in the shadows.
I am the sword in the darkness.
We are the watchers on the wall.
I am the watcher on the walls.
It's cool to see two of my special interests interlap like this, and on the strange shared topic, I must say, it's a shame that they stopped making Game of Thrones seasons after season 4, just like how it's a shame they stopped making WoW expansions after MoP. Really weird. Anywho, after dishing out donations of death to homeless people, killing several things until they died, and collecting even more stuff, I hit level 88. Hit that crack pipe. Hit my mailman. And how about you please hit that subscribe button? I wander the many dusty roads of the Kunlai Summit, aiding the many terrorized villagers, and disgruntled Shadowpan, whose monastery and defenses were hijacked and destroyed by the Sha violence in the frigid mountains. But the land was not only threatened in the north, for the Sha violence had taken hold of the Mantid swarms of town-long steppes, and the Sha of fear in the west had taken control of the Empress Shek'Zir of the Mantid, who ordered her bug people things to attack the wall at full force. And while I heard rumors and dealt with the Mantid and the Sha in small encounters from time to time, I had by no means met their full strength, but I was about to become quite acquainted with a fraction of it as I headed into the final frontier, the Mantid territories of western Pandaria, no man's land, town-long steppes, and of course, the Dread Wastes. I was about to learn real quick that it was not, in fact, all quiet on the western front. I stood before the gate of the setting sun, as an endless barrage of Sha-infused insectoids used the Shadowpan's greatest defense as a means to eradicate their weakest links and strengthen their strongest soldiers. I was warned that if I were to go beyond the wall, I may never return, at least not the same. For the Mantid out there are all hardened veterans. They exist for conquest, and with Sha corruption touching every inch of the lands beyond like post-nuke radiation, there was no chance I would return with a mind intact. But I'm Kosher the Kingslayer. I've been smoking on that Sha-infused pack. I've been on some shit that hasn't even been invented yet. You seen my Wanda poster? Good. I fucking put it there. Just like how I'm gonna put every shit spawn Silithid to the fucking spell sword and bury it 12 feet under. Open the gates, pussy. Call me the demented Dualahan, cause I'm losing my head and I'm getting close to 90. I found that the corrupted Mantid Empire, last of the Akir, proved to be the most challenging foes that I'd faced yet. Not only did they break the serpent's spine like a scaly with Viagra and 12 minutes to spare, but they literally exist to conquer and destroy, reflected in their amber art and architecture and sinister customs. Now with the Sha essentially superpowering all of their negativity, they have become the #1 haters. They're like Asmongold fans. Hundreds of elite mobs wandered the black and white Sha-touched paths that ripped through the unholy treehouses and amber tombs like claw marks torn into the messy matriarchy. Despite how corroded it may seem, this was quite possibly the peak of their horrifying empire. While traversing these strangely flowered lands, I soon became friends with the Klaxi, a council of separatists from the Mantid Empire made up of insect intellects and crawler scholars who were essentially immune to the Sha's corruption. What up? We think, therefore we buzz. Level 89 came like a breeze and left with a whimper, like a dork in Hooters. And while I traversed the Sha-infused war-torn dystopia that makes even Moscow look like a livable city, sorta, I started to feel myself slip a bit more and more. You know, maybe it was because I hadn't slept in 20 odd hours and had just spent all my time leveling. Or maybe it was because each level was becoming longer and longer and longer and longer and looking for a distraction.
Huh? Hello?
That must have been the wind. Anyways, it became evident that a majority of the quests I faced were starting to take a turn for the more dramatic, battling, healing the wounded on the front, crossing blades with insect veterans until eventually I was given the task to slay a Sha itself, more specifically the Sha of Hatred in Townlong Steppes, which contains no steps. I delved into the tightly guarded amber treehouse of nightmares, to the symphony of sourceless screams and whispers that make even the devil himself check into a psych ward, face to face with one of the many Sha infecting the land. Joined with the Klaxi and Shadowpan, did I dish it out with the Sha of Hatred, with a motherfucking book in my right hand.
I killed the Sha of Hatred. Can I get a hell yeah?
We'll be seeing the Sha and the Mantid a ton in the future episodes, and I had that foresight. So I went on a vacation to the southernmost tip of Azeroth in the Krasarang Wilds, where I decided to hit level 90, the same way I had hit level 10 a long time ago, as an absolute fucking testament to the perfect, non-linear, and classic leveling experience that Mists of Pandaria offers, only seconded by the journey of vanilla. I intended to hit max level for the final time by farming crocodiles.
Those were the days, though. Playing WoW. When Mop came out from Mists of Pandaria, I know it's a random switch, but like, when Mop came out, that's when I really got into like WoW and stuff. Note really got into it. I was playing in Kata and stuff. I unfortunately missed out Burning Crusade, or like vanilla, obviously, Burning Crusade and Wrath, which is a shame because I hear Wrath was so good, and vanilla was like hardcore. Like, it's a shame that I missed out on those, but hey, what are you gonna do? When classic servers come out, I might give it a shot.
Alright, now I can finally play the game now at max level. I showered in the pyrite cocaine for the final time, and the path laid out before me was multifaceted and built by bastards. The most gruesome and arduous questline laid before me. A questline I cannot do alone. One that required me to take part in every single rep grind, every single raid multiple times over, every dungeon hundreds of times, to PvP, to farm currencies, to tackle every single avenue of the game across a year before it's gone forever. This questline I failed over a decade ago, and I have to admit that upon hitting level 90 and entering the heartland of Pandaria, that doubt from before inflated 10 times in my heart, the same way it did in the past. I entered the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, a beautiful golden zone at the center of Pandaria, and it was here that I gazed up at the grand statues that stood over the golden pagoda, where, for some reason, my doubt flatlined. I stared up at the twin monoliths, massive statues that drew extreme heavy inspiration from the Argonath of Lord of the Rings, and for a reason. You see, in Loch Madan there's a place called the Valley of Kings, which has a pair of statues that were made for vanilla WoW, with the same inspiration in mind, but to their creators, these statues in Loch Madan became a symbol of regret.
In terms of loving Lord of the Rings, are there any zones that you can point to or any particular locations where you go, yeah, I was kind of doing a Lord of the Rings thing there?
So it sucks because it failed, but in Loch Madan, there's a section in Loch Madan, it's like southwestern corner of it that leads to Syrian Gorge, and there's these two giant dwarven statues flanking the road, and that was totally the Argonath from Lord of the Rings. That was Metz's like this is going to be the Argonath, it's going to be awesome, and it was cool, except for the fact that there was like no reveal for it, and it was, you know, a level 10 zone. Wasn't super spectacular, and it's just like in this little kind of corner of the zone that you never go to. So it was a total swing and a miss there, just because we didn't know what the hell we were doing yet. I think they nailed it in Mists of Pandaria in Vale of Eternal Blossoms. They got the two giant panda statues that are doing the same thing. And those are awesome. Mine was a big fat failure.
They wished they could create something with the same build-up and payoff that the vastness and grandness of Tolkien's Argonath had. And in Mists of Pandaria, there came a second chance. And this time, they fucking took it. Now, it wasn't just two statues of dwarves that blended into the hills and trees, with no build-up, not even a quest line to lead into it. This time, it wasn't underwhelming. This time, it was built up to the moment you opened the game and saw the login screen. This time, it was built up to the second you reached Pandaria. This spot is at the heart of the continent, where everything else is either coming from it or trying to get into it. Its build-up is iconic, and it becomes exceptionally important in the endgame. These statues were a second chance seized and done right. WoW's own Argonath. witnessing it again in all of its grandeur. I didn't see what would become a daily hub, a technical achievement, a testament to epic lore, some PvP hotspot. I saw evidence. I saw a second chance taken and accomplished against all odds. No matter how many giants came before it, there's always room for one and sometimes two more. The twin monoliths became my motivation then and there to take a hold of my own second chance. I saw a spark where before there was ash. I saw hope in the dwindling dark. I saw that I needed to purchase a fucking flying license so I can actually see the statues. Yeah, that's better. I felt the same anticipation, the same excitement that I did as a teenager when I first pursued the same quest before the doubt crept in. And with these standing symbols as my witnesses, stood amongst golden leaves in a sunset-dyed sky with a determination unparalleled, I once more promised the ghost on the Jade Mountain way off in that forest that I will conquer everything this expansion has to throw my way. And I will beat every chapter of this bastard Legendary Questline, no matter what it takes. And for my younger self, I will do this final achievement and become Kosher, the Legend of Pandaria. Speaking of which, I think I have some dailies that I gotta get to.